Hello, Tedros. Hello, Agatha. If you are here with me now, then you have already come a long way. It must be strange to hear your old Professor Sender from beyond the grave, but I assure you it is just as odd for me, because it is not I who knew you might be hearing this message. As I once told you, I cannot see your future beyond your time at school. In my mind's eye, your fairy tale ends the night waffle comes from your hands. My sight offers me no further clues as to whether you survive the encounter or what becomes of you. Instead, it is King Arthur who believes your story will continue long after I'm gone, to a time when Tedros must prove his claim to Camelot's throne. And in pursuit of this proof, you will come here, to this very room, searching for answers to his father's history. Answers the public do not know and which I do not have permission to share with them. Instead, this particular exhibit in Arthur's archive remains woefully incomplete. As with most fairy tales, the people will only know the beginnings of the tale of Arthur and the Green Knight. But not you. You will learn more. You must know the full story. This was Arthur's dying wish to me, that I leave you these answers in a way that only you could find. Since Merlin is as much a part as this story as the king, I turned to the wizard for help in hiding what I have to tell you. It is his magic that allows me to be here with you now. Before Arthur died, I asked him why he couldn't tell Tedros the story himself. The king replied that his son should learn the facts from someone he trusts. Facts Tedros didn't care to hear from his father. And yet, I suspect there is another reason the king wanted me to tell this story instead of him. Arthur knew the story should not be confided by its participants. Man is too emotional, too bound to his ego. Truth only comes with perspective and time. With the blessing of both wizard and king, then it is I who will give you the answers you seek. So lie back, clear your mind, and witness the tale of Arthur and the Green Knight. In darkness, a phantom history appeared, like one of Professor Sender's textbooks come to life. As the prince and princess floated, a lush forest appeared around them, occupying every dimension, as once richly detailed and yet porous, like a simulation of reality that hadn't entirely been filled in. Trampling through this forest came a tall, mountainous man with bright green skin, the color of young grass or garden snake. The Green Knight had big black eyes, a high, smooth forehead, and a thick, dark beard that matched the woolly hair on his head. Finely muscles projected from his bare green chest and tight green breeches. A gold-plated axe hung from his belt. By now, you know the beginnings, Professor Sender's voice narrated, about the mysterious Green Knight who appeared in the woods and made his way to Camelot, insisting on a private meeting with its king. Arthur was not in the practice of humoring nameless strangers, especially demanding ones with access. But the Green Knights had arrived only a few days after Guinevere had abandoned the king for his best friend. That the Green Knights would come so soon after the Queen's disappearance couldn't be a coincidence. The scenes evaporated, replaced with King Arthur's throne room. There were no guests or advisors or members of the court. The king had honored the knight's request to meet alone, with Arthur now hunched on his gold throne, his bloodshot eyes creased with wrinkles, his grey flagged hair unkempt. There were scrums in his beard, stains on the collar of his robes. Excalibur leaned against the throne, mottled and dull. Agatha was reminded of the way Theseus once looked when she had tried to end their relationship and pair him off with Sophie. Her prince had disappeared for days, returning with this same childlike stupor, as if both he and his father were truly alive only when they had the security of love. And just like Theseus had welcomed Agatha when he thought he might get her back, bone-tired but renewed, now his father looked down at his queen guests the same way. Do you know where she is? Arthur asked, breathless. Take me to her at once. I'll pay you any price. The Green Knight seemed bemused. Most kings would be suspicious of Green Stranger, especially the Lion of Camelot, whose kingdom is founded upon his victory over a snake. But instead, the mighty Arthur asks me for help, convinced I'm a friend. He peered harder at the king. You don't remember me, do you? Quite sure I remember a green hawk of a man, said Arthur swiftly. If you are indeed man and not monster. More man than most kings, I'll say, the knight replied, his stare unwavering. As to your question, let's say I could find your wife. How would that change anything? Would that make her love you? Would that make her come running back to your side? Arthur didn't know what to make of this. Poor lion, it won't be long before you call me a snake, the Green Knight spoke. But just remember, the real snake was in your bed. The king's eyes flickered. Why have you come here, then? To gain your permission, the Green Knight replied. My permission for what? To kill Merlin, said the knight. The answer was so unexpected that Agatha